Hello and welcome back. I am the organizer advisor, Lisa Winfield. I am your life enhancement coach, and my goal is to help you create happiness, health, and harmony in your life. And we do that through a process I developed called the Transformational Organization Process. And this process, of course, is free, and it's all on my Facebook page, Organizer Advisor, and my YouTube channel, The Organizer Advisor. So check out either one of those locations. All the videos are there to walk you through the process, and on the Facebook page, we actually go through the process day by day. So if that helps to scaffold it for you, in whatever format and platform works for you, I'm happy that you've joined me. Now, in our transformational organization process, we have several components in order to really get a grasp on comprehensively organizing our lives, transforming our lives, gaining self-confidence, and making sure that we have daily health and beauty, self-nurturing routines, because that all kind of dovetails into a framework for increasing our happiness in our lives. The components that I include in my transformational organization process are document organization and thematic organization. And document organization, of course, is organizing all the paperwork in our home. We file those piles, and that helps because we can find important documents when we need them. We also do thematic organizing, which is creating dedicated spaces in our home for certain items that we frequently use and that are important. We also organize our closet in a rainbow closet strategy, which helps us extend the use of our wardrobe, be able to express ourselves creatively with our clothing, make sure our clothing is in ready-to-wear shape to reduce that get-dressed stress, which increases our confidence and our outward appearance, which makes us feel so much better about how we look. Also, we talk about our daily health and beauty routines, which increase our health and our happiness through exercise, clean eating, daily beauty routines, and that also helps us look and feel better. And then lastly, we have some financial strategies that help us with our financial well-being. So I thank you for joining me. That's just outlining the process. But one of the things that we want to do when we are organizing our documents is we want to help our children get organized in their school documents. You know what it's like when your child can't find an assignment that's due. You know what it's like when you can't find that field trip form and you're trying so hard to get it in because it's supposed to be in that day. You know how it feels to your child and to yourself when you can't find an important document for school. It frustrates you and it frustrates your child. So we're going to try and eliminate that. Now, I served as a dropout prevention specialist, a student advancement coach in a middle school. And one of the things that I noticed about the students on my caseload were that they struggled with organization. And a lot of children do. They struggle with organization. Provide a framework for your child to stay organized at school, which is going to help them academically. It's going to help them feel better about school. It's going to help them feel more focused, and hopefully it will help their achievement. So let's get started on organizing your child's binder and school paperwork. Now, when my students would come to me, I would have an organizational seminar, and it was usually on Thursdays. And my students would come to my office, and I would help them organize their binder. And those binders would come in, and there would be papers sticking out everywhere. It would almost look like the binder was going to explode. And when that happens, number one, your child cannot find the piece of paper that they're going to need. And also, things fall out. They could be walking down the hallway, things fall out in the backpack, get shoved to the bottom, and then of course they just kind of get tossed away. So we want to prevent any loose papers from getting lost. So I had a policy for my students was no loose papers. Everything was captured safely in the binder. So The best way to organize your child binder is by the subjects in which they're enrolled. So if your traditional subjects, math, language arts, history, science, related arts, whatever subject. So you want to make some dividers or have some dividers. And a lot of my students didn't have dividers, so we just made them. It's very inexpensive, and I'll show you how. But let's talk about the binder. You of course want a heavy-duty binder. And you want to make sure it's going to last, and allow your child to decorate their binder. Now, the first thing that you're going to want is some page protectors. And what I like to put in the very front is homework. So when your child gets a homework assignment from the teacher, it goes right into this front page protector. And that means when they get home from school, you know where all the homework assignments are. And you don't have to go through every section of the binder or in the bottom of the backpack. They are right here in the very front. Now, some schools require a PE or a reading log, and so you may want to have a page protector for that. And then I have my homemade divider, and basically it's a page protector with a colored sheet of paper, a different color for each subject, and then just right on the very edge of the paper, the subject. And the reason this works well is it's inexpensive, and it's fairly durable, and if your child is putting notebook paper or the papers in the binder, then this kind of sticks out a little bit, so it creates a tab, which makes it easy to find the subjects. Then make sure that your child has some notebook paper behind each subject area for note taking. This is a subject divider you can purchase, but you can see already that these things do tend to tear. I like the page protectors because they do seem to be a little bit more durable. Another thing that you can do in the math and subject area, you can hole punch a zip top bag. And you can either put flashcards, or if it's English sight word cards, or any kind of vocabulary cards, scientific cards, notes that your child is studying. If you put them in the zip top bag, they don't fall out if the binder gets turned upside down. So then what you want to do is you want to start putting the papers in either page protectors or hole punch them and put them in the binder. Now, oftentimes, your child is just going to shove a pile of paper in the binders, all their papers that they get handed back, and they're all going to be kind of loose in the binder, and then they're just going to fall out. And that's when the loss happens, and that's when the frustration comes. So what we're going to do is we're going to take care of that. Now, when my students would come to my organizational seminar, and believe me, I have opened my seminar up to every student in the middle school, and there were over 1,000 students. But any student who needed organization help, with the permission of their teacher, was able to come to my organizational seminar. And we would go through the same strategy each time. And that was to take out all the loose papers. So we had a pile of papers, everything out of the backpack, everything out of the binder that was loose. Remember, no loose papers. And then I would ask the students to categorize those papers by their subject. So they would start to go through and separate the reading, and then they would separate the math. And interestingly enough, as the student was going through them, they'd say, oh, there's that assignment that I forgot to turn in, or I don't need this anymore. So then I would say, well, take everything home that you don't feel like you need right now and put them in a binder at home, and I'll explain in just a minute. So once the student had all of their papers categorized, then we would take the hole punch, and we would hole punch all of those papers, and then they go into the appropriate category in the binder. Now that is a great way, and as the students repeatedly would come, they would know exactly what to do, and they would start to organize their binders all by themselves. So it actually was a really good strategy. And they learned to do it by themselves. I actually got a call from one of my students who is a Marine now, a United States Marine. I'm so proud of you. But he called me after he had joined the Marines, and he thanked me and said that I had taught him to be organized, and that was serving him so well as a United States Marine. So you know who you are, and I'm very, very proud of you. Okay, so we have your student's binder all organized, but let's talk about a pencil pouch. Now, when my kids got home from school on Fridays, the first thing that they did was clean out that backpack. It had happened more than once that, my son would pull out a project on Sunday night at about 7 o'clock and tell me it's due the next morning. And that was extremely frustrating for both of us. So I learned Friday afternoon, we cleaned out the backpack. The binder got organized. All the loose papers got put in their proper section. Everything was in its place. I was then informed of anything that I would need to know during the weekend, such as projects, upcoming tests, or supplies that my child might need, so that I would have all weekend to make sure that those items got taken care of. Then I would check their pencil pouch, and every Friday, after the backpack was cleaned and the binder was organized, I put 2 new pencils and some school supplies in that pencil pouch in the binder. The other thing that I would do is check the lunch account to make sure that there was money in the lunch account. If not, I would either put money online or I would send a check. In the case that my children were taking lunch that upcoming week, I would make sure that I had the lunchbox clean and all the lunches packed Sunday night for the week. And they went into big Ziploc bags in the refrigerator. They were labeled Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So the lunches were packed for the week. And that saved me so much time because, of course, I was a working mother. And I was working on my doctorate. So I didn't have a lot of time. Next, at the end of every month, I made this little school audit form. And actually, I designed this one for some of my elementary students. But this is something that you can use for your elementary, middle school, or high school students. It's just a school supply audit. And basically, and of course, you can type this out and make it more grown up for your older students, but for your older children. But it's still, you need to periodically check if your child is prepared to learn by having their school supplies. So pencils, paper, erasers, crayons, colored pencils, markers, highlighters, scissors, lunch money, folders, binders. So just do a quick, at the end of every month, this gives you time to make sure that you have school supplies for your child and they are ready. Speaking of school supplies, when at the beginning of every school year, supplies go on sale and all the stores carry them, and then the schools publish a school supply list that the stores usually have so that you know what to buy. Buy extra. If you can, buy. As your student fills out their school supply audit, you have those supplies on hand ready so that you're not out, scrambling around or having to try and find a store that has school supplies. You have those school supplies on hand. I always keep a great big box of pencils. Remember, 2 pencils every Friday once that backpack is clean. That way your child has pencils and is ready to learn. Okay, so if you can buy your school supplies, when school supply season is, buy extras, put them in a bin, store them, and then that way when your child needs them, you have them. Now, let's talk about how you can set up a binder at home. This is a really effective strategy. Just like your child has a binder and it's categorized by subjects, you're going to want to have a corresponding binder at home. And this is what I told those students to take those papers home and put them in a binder. I'm going to explain. If you have a binder at home for each of your children, set it up according to the same subjects in same order that your child's binder is set up. So you may want to have math, all their subject areas. When those papers come home and your child says, well, I don't need these anymore, the teacher handed these back, they're just clutter in your child's backpack. And unless your teacher says that they need to remain in the backpack, they can go in the at-home binder. The rationale is, number one, you have a comprehensive view of what your child is learning in school for that marking period. And you can see the grades in some of the areas that they may be struggling in. And if they're struggling, you can supplement with some extra practice at home in those particular areas to help your students' academic success. The other thing is that if you are looking online at your child's grades and you see that there's an assignment that is marked as missing or a 0, then you can go back into the at-home binder and see if that assignment has actually been returned with a grade on it. People make mistakes, and teachers are people, and they are overwhelmed most of the time. Imagine the amount of paperwork that a teacher has to manage. So once in a while, papers get stuck together and they just, when it goes into the grade book or the grading program, it may have been overlooked. But this is just a great way to just double check that your child has gotten their credit for that assignment. And if it is missing on the grading program, or your teacher has reported it missing and it's been returned with a grade on it, then respectfully resubmit that to the teacher and ask for the amendment to the grade, or for that grade to be put into the grading book. It makes a difference in your child's grades. But again, it gives you a comprehensive look at what your child is learning. At the end of the marking period, certainly, that's the time to purge those and clean out your at-home binder, getting ready for a new marking period. The other thing that you want to keep in your at-home binder is you want to keep a copy of your school's student handbook. You want any course syllabus for a course that your child attends, particularly in middle school and in high school. Each course has a syllabus, and that syllabus outlines grading policies and grading procedures, as well as policies for projects and work, and the weight of the tests and the way the tests are formatted. All of that is outlined in the class syllabus, and you want a syllabus for each class that your child is attending. So that way you are informed of the grading policies, the testing policies, and how that class is going to be conducted with your child. So you want to have course syllabi in your at-home binder. You want to have any relative documents to your child's academic progress, such as any kind of log-on information for your child's grading program or school connection program, classroom. Your teacher has classroom apps that they use. You want that information. You want any information that, for anything dealing with your child's individualized education, such as an IEP, a 504, or any kind of document that refers to your child's education. Anything that gets sent home, usually at the beginning of the year when you get that plethora of paperwork to sign, you want to make sure that the ones that you keep at home you have in your at-home binder. Also, this gives the opportunity that if you have any kind of form that you need to return to the school or fill out, or anything, can go in the front pocket of the binder so that you know exactly where that field trip permission form is, or that award ceremony form, or any kind of dates, events, any kind of field trip forms, any kind of sports or athletic events coming up, volunteer forms, if you volunteer at school, PTA forms, anything relevant to the school you want to have that you're going to need to see right away can go in the front pocket. So that's the at-home binder for the parents, and that strategy is going to help so much. I just tell you, that worked for me as a parent, and it really alleviated a lot of my frustration. Let's talk about backpacks. Now, a couple of things about backpacks. One of the 30 years of public education was backpacks that were often way too heavy for children to carry. Sometimes kids tend to collect things in their lockers and their backpacks. You want to make sure that your child's backpack is not too heavy. Just like we've talked about our purse being too heavy and it can cause back problems, it's the same with children. It can cause shoulder and neck and back problems, hip problems. So please, on Fridays when your children get home from school, clean out the backpack. If the backpack looks like it is just way too heavy, some of that stuff needs to be either kept at school or kept at home. Backpacks can be washed. You can wash it in the bathtub and just soak it in some mild soapy water, or you can actually throw them into the washing machine. Just check your backpack and see how durable it is. But a lot of times, you know, our children forget that they've left a snack in there and it's been in there a little too long and it might have a bit of an odor to it. You can take care of that by just washing the backpack. Now, I washed my children's backpacks, you know, over every long holiday break. Just kind of keeps them fresh, and you know, it also keeps them looking cleaner, looking newer, and that does actually make a difference. Remember, we always go back to that psychology of clean. So check your child's backpack. Occasionally, you know, wash it. You could use your home freshening spray and spray a little bit in there, but just make sure that it's not too heavy for your child to carry. Lunch boxes, the same thing. You just want to make sure they're clean and germ-free. You can clean them with hot soapy water, let them dry, air dry. You can also use your Listerine spray and spray them, wipe them down really, really well to make sure that we have eliminated any germs or residual food. For helping our children get ready for school, let's recap. First, we want to make sure that that binder is organized by subjects and your child has all papers inside the binder secure in the rings. No loose papers. We also want to periodically do a school supply audit. This will help your child be prepared to learn. We also want to create an at-home binder so that we can house all of the documents relevant to our child's education in one binder for us to be able to find and access quickly. We want to make sure that we have adequate school supplies on hand for when that audit comes home, we have school supplies. We also want to check our child's lunch account and make sure there's lunch money in there, or that we have food ready for the week for our child to start the week successfully. To sharpen pencils, clean out the backpacks on Fridays, wash them when they need it periodically, wash lunch boxes when they need it periodically, and don't forget to thank your child's teacher. Being an educator is really a calling. Although it is a profession, it is a calling. There's a lot of emotional energy that goes into working with children. And your child's teacher puts a lot of not just their time, their own money, and their love for your child into your child's academic progress. Your teacher is giving so much of themselves, so much of their emotional and physical energy to help your child excel. Think about your teachers, and it's always nice to as a teacher to receive just a thank you note, knowing that the parents appreciate the work that you as a teacher are putting into helping their child succeed. It's also a great opportunity to partner with your child's teacher and the school, because with a partnership between the school, the teacher, the parent, and the child, everybody focused on that child's progress, it is going to create a teamwork format for everybody to be able to communicate and everybody to work together to help your child learn. I thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, this is the Organizer Advisor, and I am wishing you happiness, health, and harmony. I'll see you next time.